First of all, John Sutton is the best looking guy in the scene. Second of all, does everybody
John
remember?
Sutton,
Everybody remember
I
what a
would
fucking
sleep with
chicken
John
fight
Sutton.
is? Because everybody grab a partner and start fucking chicken fighting right in the pit. Chicken fight! Everybody chicken
I'm
fight!
against violence.
Chicken fight! Brad! Holy shit, Brad, man! Start the song! Start the song! Chicken fight! Chicken fight! Hold on! Chicken fight! Hey,
You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about propaganda. On this episode, we are discussing LaPlante song and LaPlante/Smith song. Sandwiched between a live version of Leghold Trap, these songs are tracks 15 and 17 on Where Quantity is Job 1 from G7 Welcoming Committee records. Obviously, this song became The Only Good Fascist from Let's Talk More Rock. As a reminder, Greg and Keith went into that song for 2 hours on episode 20, and the guest on that episode is Sulin Hago.
Yes, exactly. That was a very fun one. Sulin and I recorded that Dead Fascist interview right after some New York City protests in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. Very intense interview, which I recently re-listened to for another project. And it's such a surreal thing to go back 5 years in the past and hear that chat with Sulin. But it's so funny to me that this joke song that the band would do live became a song that they still play to this day in the Dead Fascist form. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty funny.
Isn't that kind of the way it always goes, though? Like, you have something, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, something's there.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously it was pretty special. But so there's two different versions of this album, this Where Quantity is Job 1, and I've got them both right here. There's a white cover version with Jord on the front, which was obviously taken from the Where Quality is Job Number 1 double 7-inch cover and repurposed for the Where Quantity is Job Number 1 CD version. And then there's also the brown version, which I think is the more common one. Have you seen both of these versions?
I've seen both of them. I wonder why you're like, and the Brown version. I'm like, is this the original Brown album? Did this come out before Primus's Brown album or right around the same time as Primus's Brown album?
Yeah, we were just talking about this record a little bit. So 1998, this album comes out. What are your memories of that time?
So I remember purchasing this record pretty much right when it came out. Like, it was, I remember the Music World that I purchased it at the mall. And the I remember it was on like the new releases rack, which I thought was at the time was pretty wild for a propaganda record to be on the new releases rack. But obviously there was someone cool working at that music store that was like in a mall.
Mm-hmm.
So I purchased it. I remember taking it home, listening to it, and I remember like obviously like we've talked about it at length before, but it's like pretty rough around the edges and like raw. And I remember thinking, I'm like, man, these guys like to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm into this.
Yeah, and it's we use the term unhinged on this podcast a lot because of just this like the immense overdoing of the discography and discussions of propaganda that we do here. And this release sort of fits within that unhingedness, especially this section of live tunes. Does that make sense?
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I'm all over this. Like, if this I would listen to this record far more if it weren't haven't been stuck in my CD player for the last 17 years.
Do you have a functioning CD player?
I do have a functioning CD player. I just that my actual physical CD is stuck in my non-functioning CD player.
Got it. Well, we need to disassemble that CD player so we can liberate the disc from that one. We just have to take it apart, just do all a little unscrewing and everything, and take it all out of
The
there.
problem is I still use it. So
How
I
do
don't
you use it if it's not functioning?
I use the aux on it because it's got a really good preamp and speakers. So I have like if you
Oh,
can see like behind me the silver speaker on the ground,
yeah.
that silver speaker goes with that CD player, which is on the ground behind the bass behind me over here. So
Hmm.
like if I take it apart, I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to have like that sound because I use it because the low end on this stereo is unbelievable. So I have it supplemented with the top speaker. I did this. I'm honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like I've had this stereo that the CD is stuck in. I purchased it in 1997 from Future Shop in Pointe Claire, Quebec, and I walked into the and because you know how like they all have demo modes on the stereo.
Of course.
I was like, I'm not using this demo mode. So I walk in. It's 1997. I had money from my summer job. I walk in to purchase this stereo, and I walk in with a copy of Suburban Teenage Wasteland Blues on CD
Yeah.
and a copy of Hatebreed's Satisfaction. And I walk in and I'm playing every one of my CDs in all of the CD players at Future
Wow.
Shop, and I came away with this one.
Dude, that's awesome. I still have a stereo that I bought in the late 90s as well. It's actually in my daughter's bedroom right now. It's got a little 5 disc CD changer in there. It's got a cassette deck on top, and it's on her dresser right now. And every once in a while, I put some stuff in it too because I've got a stack of CDs too that I still hang on to this day. Um, but I love that for you.
Stuff was made really well. Like the fact that I mean, other than the fact that the physical CD part doesn't work, the rest of it works fine, and it's going on many years.
Yeah, well, your CD player, your stereo is almost as old as Less Talk More Rock, which is actually really funny. Okay, so you have good memories of this
Yeah.
where quantity is job number one,
Oh
especially
yeah.
this random live section. And you know what? I just got to say here real quick that one of my favorite episodes you and I have ever recorded is our Stand Up and Be Counted Venom episode, which I think
Oh
is
yeah.
number 91, if I'm going from memory, episode 91. But love this release. I've grown to love it so much more than I ever thought I possibly could, which would probably make Chris throw up. But I just think that it's got so many gems on it, including LaPlante song and including LaPlante Smith song.
It's just like just I think it's a perfect like capsule into that time period of the band
Yeah,
that I understand if you're in the band you may not be like super stoked on it because obviously everything you're doing now is a million times better obviously,
right.
but I think it's important to preserve and like archive that era of
Yeah.
them even becoming like into their formative years and them really gelling, and I think it does a really good job of doing that.
I truly don't understand why they won't put this on streaming. I know they're like, yeah, we don't want this to be the first thing that people hear, but honestly, just put it on streaming and like you get a little bit of money from it. Like, just, I think that especially if you're thinking about like, inheritance for your children in the future and stuff like that, every dollar counts. You know what I mean? So just put it online, let us listen to it. That's what I think. I think they should just put it out
I
and
mean,
streaming.
there's a band that both of us despise that has at least 17 of their terrible albums on streaming.
I hate that band so much. I never want to talk about them again. Okay, so there are liner notes in this, and I realize that many people out there listening used to own copies of this album, but no longer do. So I've decided to read the entirety of the liner notes for this particular tracks 15 through 17
Love
section
it.
from the book. So here we go. Directly from the liner notes in the white cover version of the compilation, but I believe it's in the brown version as well. The caption about these tunes reads, quote, tracks 15 through 17 recorded live by Mark Barnacle's Barnyard Snooshes the Butcher Chaplain at the Royal Albert Arms Hotel in Winnipeg, 1992. This era marks not only a period where we delivered performances and insightful commentary with the pinpoint accuracy of seasoned professionals, it recalls a time when everyone at shows was shit faced and going fucking mental. Leg Hold Trap features John K. Sampson of the Weaker Thans employing a rare vocal technique known as, can you read that for me?
La chasseur de merde.
Which means shit singing, correct?
Uh, yeah, close
Okay.
enough.
That he picked up while enrolled at Juilliard. The other songs feature Jeff Corned Beef, Hump Dog LaPlante, and Sam Poindexter Smith at the vocal helm. The second of the two, shortly preceding a spontaneous and slightly disturbing chant of Jord is fat, Jord is fat, is a collaborative effort reminiscent of such classic duets as Island in the Stream and Ebony and Ivory. Epilogue. It turns out we didn't get to see Born Against or a Kings game, but we did see Gretzky at the airport on the way home from the All Star game. Jord believes it was in Pittsburgh that year. Jord has since shaved off 20 pounds and kicked LaPlante's face in repeatedly. What are your thoughts on that little section?
I mean, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Like
shit
that.
singing.
So
Singing of shit.
if I could issue one correction, is that the All-Star game was in Philadelphia that year.
Yeah, so I was looking at this.
Yeah.
And 1990 All-Star Game was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
91 was in Chicago, and 92 was in Philly. So
And
yes.
93,
Oh,
where was 90?
Montreal, right?
There you go.
Yeah,
And
I
guess who won the cup that year?
Montreal,
Guess who won the cup in 1990?
Montreal.
No, Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Nice, interesting. No, I did not know that. Thank you for that.
Or
Wonderful,
Pittsburgh might have been 91.
wonderful
No.
hockey. Oh, that
No.
was that the Lemieux Yager early years.
Yeah, it was the one year it was Pittsburgh, Minnesota in the final that year, and I remember Mario put on an absolute clinic. But I remember cheering for Minnesota with their underdog goalie John Casey at the time.
Yeah, John Casey went on to play for the St. Louis Blues for a little
Yeah,
while as well. But that was when Minnesota was the North Stars, who went on to
yeah.
become the Dallas Stars. Uh, man, the
Who
North
are
Stars.
currently beating up on the Winnipeg Jets.
Ooh, yikes. I'm rooting for all my friends in Winnipeg up there who are really, really hoping this is the year for the Jets. Okay, so another thing I want to offer about that commentary is that Mark Chaplin is still the sound guy for Propaganda. I'm 99% sure. So they still have a relationship with the guy who recorded these tracks at the Royal Albert Arms, which is pretty cool.
I want to know where the Barnacles nickname came from.
Yeah, well, I mean, his nickname is Barney.
Yeah,
So I think that I'm wondering about the origin of all these nicknames. He's got Barnacles, Barnyard, Snooshes, and the Butcher. So he's got multiple nicknames all crammed into one sentence here, which is pretty funny. But if you go to a Propaganda gig, chances are pretty good you're going to see Barney out there doing his thing. So that's pretty cool, yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
So the Brown CD cover version of Where Quantity is Job Number One has the actual lyrics printed for both LaPlante song and LaPlante Smith song. So
I love that they went and they printed lyrics to this song. That's the
yes,
best part of it.
would you like for me to regale you of the
Can
brilliance of Jeff LaPlante moment for a moment here?
please. And can you please do it in your best Jeff LaPlante impression voice?
Like, okay,
Yeah.
LaPlante song, and in the lyrics it says words by LaPlante.
You can even move the mic a bit away from your face so you can be louder.
Hey, Hannah, how's it going? Can I borrow some records? You punk rock piece of shit. Hey, Jord, join the chicken fight. Is that a sub you've got in your face? You piece of shit fat motherfucker. Okay.
When you did the first "Hey Hannah," I was gonna go bum 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 bum.
Do 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 do. Okay, so then we've got LaPlante Smith song, and it says words and music by LaPlante and Sammy. I don't know why it says music because clearly it's the band playing it, but whatever. Okay, so here's the next one LaPlante Smith. Hey, Hannah, how's it going? Is that you I see slapping dicks with Brad? Fuck, you got a hairy ass. A hairy fucking ass. Hairy ass. Hey, Jord, how's it going, you fucking fat piece of shit? I could trash your drum kit right now, and maybe I will, or maybe I won't. No, I won't. So clearly, we've got award-winning lyrical content here that is printed for all to see in the liner notes of the brown copy. The lyrics were not included in the white copy.
I wonder why.
Probably just space. I mean, if you look at the difference between the liner
Oh yeah,
notes,
the Brown
like,
album is a novel of liner notes. That thing.
yeah, yeah. So we got one, two, three, four, five folds in the booklet of the white version, and two folds in the booklet of the white, or in the brown version is the five folds, and the white version only has two folds. So the liner notes are much, much shorter on the white version. So if you are a person out there who is scouring the internet trying to find copies of this record and you want the superior version, well, I got to say this real quick. The reason I like the white version is because the track numbers are included on the back cover, and the other version has no numbers next to the songs. So the white version has a better track listing option on the back cover. The brown version has no track listing numbers on the back cover, but it's got way, way more liner notes, including a full G7 catalog from like Noam Chomsky and I Spy and Rhythm Activism and the Weaker Thans and But Alive, and a bio of G7 as well, apparently, in here. So the brown version's a little better for the thoroughness of the liner notes, though.
Both records are equal bangers, though.
They are. Well, it's the same record. It's the
Yeah,
exact same record.
exactly.
So,
What are the chances they put two records out that are that close together that are both that good?
Steve, we really should have done a cover for this song, but we don't have to. It's totally fine. Um, I have a
We kind of
surprise.
just did a minute ago, didn't we?
We did, yeah. So
It was
that's the cover.
close
We
enough.
live rendition. Okay, so I have a surprise.
Yes.
I reached out to Jeff LaPlante and I got a reply.
I can't even wait.
Okay, so this is a real treat. Okay, there's no interview, didn't interview him, but LaPlante was reached for comment about the origin of LaPlante's song, and we chatted via email for a little bit. And you have to remember this is over 30 years ago, right? This is like 33 years ago that this stuff is taking place. So memories become hazy, and he acknowledged that Chris's memory might be slightly different than his about this song. So I ask listeners to please give Jeff the benefit of the doubt in case there are any minor variations from something that happened 30 plus years ago. In case Chris ever hears this, like maybe Chris has more details that he could offer about LaPlante's song as well on Patreon, a catastrophic break. So this is what Jeff LaPlante says about the origin of LaPlante's song. It would have been summer of 90 or 91. Two members of Meat Rack would go tree planting during summer. So the bass player and I did a side project band with Chris and Jord called Sweet Medusa. We played one show with Immortal Possession at the Albert. Chris wrote all, if not most, of the music, and that was one of the songs. He may have had the riffs already. He may have written lyrics, or I did, but they were different from the LaPlante song lyrics, which were ridiculous and made up on the spot. We also did a cover of Reach Out by Cheap Trick. So that is LaPlante's words exactly via email about the origin of LaPlante's song. So it's kind of funny that if you think about uh, LaPlante's song being a Sweet Medusa creation, that means that The Only Good Fascist is a Very Dead Fascist began possibly as not a propaganda song.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I kept the conversation with Jeff going a little bit, and I asked him about his favorite memory of the times that are preserved in the Where Quantity is Job One album, because what you're listening to are people who are like 19 years old or whatever, going ballistic with their buddies at the Royal Albert in Winnipeg, super isolated city in North America. They never thought that anybody would ever hear that stuff or care about these songs at all. So what you're hearing is just a really authentic depiction of a time in all of their lives. So I was curious about what Jeff's favorite memories of that time are, of that early 90s Winnipeg scene where propaganda came from. And this is what he said. It was all really fun. At some point in the life of our shows together, Chris started making, quote, Battle of the Bands posters, subtitling them Punk Propaganda versus Metal Meat Rack. Those were hilarious. There was one incident at the Albert at the end of the rendition of LaPlante's song when I dove off a monitor into George's drum kit and leveled it. He had a laugh about it, but I remember Chris being mad. Rightfully so. It took 5 minutes or so to put the kit back together, so a lull in the set. And it was a week before they were going to LA to record the first album. So if you remember what I read earlier, the lyrics of LaPlante's Smith song is I could trash your drum kit right now and maybe I will or maybe I won't. No, I won't. So there is a history documented in the liner notes that line up with LaPlante diving through George's entire drum set in the middle of the show.
I love that. Give me more of that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So have you ever listened to Meat Rack before?
I haven't.
Oh my God. Okay. So Meat Rack comes up on this podcast pretty regularly over the last 5 years. Whenever somebody from Winnipeg comes on, like I think they probably got mentioned in the Derek Riel appearance for I think it was Rattan Kane on that episode. Um, but Meat Rack is really good. And I'm embarrassed to say that I had never taken the time to listen to them until yesterday, but I just listened to a bunch of their stuff. All of it is available on Bandcamp. Um, the 1995 record called Bitten and Unconscious by Meat Rack is super good. And they're like a Jesus Lizard shellac sounding band. Like Ken Mode, kind of like that noise rock kind of sound.
Hmm.
Like I used to listen to Jesus Lizard a whole lot, like 15 years ago. And the second Meat Rack came on, I was like, oh my God, it's like Jesus Lizard and Shellac. So if you're a fan of those bands, you can find all of Meat Rack's stuff um, on their Bandcamp page. They have, they've got a bunch of stuff on here. Bitten and Unconscious, they've got something called Four. I think it's a split. Um, but there's also something called Serial Killer Shoes slash Husky Mellow. That might be a split. There's also something called Gas Leak, which is a 1993 record. So they've got all kinds of stuff. But Bitten and Unconscious from 1995 is just rocking, like all the way through. And something that's really cool is that the drummer on the Bitten and Unconscious record is Darren Acorn, who has been a guest on this podcast because he played drums on Chris's Catastrophic Break with Consensus Reality album in 2022 that he did for Patreon. So Darren plays drums on the Iron Maiden cover. He plays drums on the SNFU cover from Chris's Catastrophic Break record. And Darren was also a guest on the Catastrophic Break episode series that I did in 2022. So really cool to be like, oh, Darren plays drums on this. Oh, Darren was in Meat Rack. Oh, Darren was played with Jeff LaPlante, singer of LaPlante songs. So there is just like this web that just gets woven throughout a lot of these songs, which is really cool.
I love that. It's just such a like. I mean, it really highlights just how tight and small that community was back
Hmm.
then.
And so thanks to Jeff for playing along and contributing some awesome comments for the show. He also told me about a project called Altars of Nocturnal Armageddon, which I think I may have sent to you, but it's something that we will have to discuss in the future, and I'm not going to comment more on it for the time being because I don't want to spoil the surprise for in case we ever actually get around to talking about it.
I look forward to that.
That'll be a fun one. That might be an unhinged Venom style episode from us somewhere down the way. But yeah, go ahead.
We're due for another one of those.
We're gonna. I mean, are we doing that right now? Who knows? This might be.
Yeah.
This is a little organized. I feel a little organized for talking about such an insanely ridiculous song. But I had to go back to today's Empire's Tomorrow's Ashes, track one, because I had to go back and be like, is it LaPlante's older sister? And it's not. It's Labonte. So I was
Oh,
wondering, like, is Jeff LaPlante's sister a character in Mateka Marisa-kun Rasakan? But it's Labonte with a B, not LaPlante with a P. So that was a little fact checking that I had to do as well. So had a really good time chatting with Jeff. But yeah, thoughts?
I think, you know, going back to speak about the record and what Jeff said and everything, I think so many like established bands would love to have something like this in their catalog to show that time and place and like, the look how far we've come, look where it started. I think
Yeah,
there's so many bands that would love to have this in existence that just don't because they, for one reason or another stuff, got lost or they didn't record anything or I just think that it's such an important part of like archiving and preserving history.
yeah. Um, and if you listen to the song, there's a lot of commentary in there as well. Um, that the story web expands so far. Jeff starts the song by saying that John Sutton is the hottest guy in the scene, right? So it's like, who is that? I mean, people of this podcast are probably like totally aware of that, but John Sutton is a Canadian bass player, singer, and songwriter, engineer, and producer from Winnipeg. He ran a record label called Fresh Bread Records in the 90s. He was in Elliott, the 1T Winnipeg Elliott, not the 2T Elliott from the US. He played on the band Rusty's 2018 Dogs of Canada album. Um, he played in the Weaker Thans. He was the bassist on Fallow, the first Weaker Thans album. And he's credited with production credits for Malfaction, The Undecided, who is J.P. Peters' band, who produces Propaganda to this day. He is credited with production with Greg McPherson. He is credited with production with I Spy. He mixed I'd Rather Be Flag Burning. So just that one little thing with John Sutton's the hottest guy in the scene. You type that into Discogs and you get John Sutton's like entire body of work just boop pops out of there. So I mean, that's pretty funny, right? I mean, it just shows that this one little sentence is just this web that just expands out. But then we go into the chicken fight scene.
Chicken fight! Chicken fight! Hold on! Chicken fight! Hey, Hannah!
And I was talking to Patrina about this the other day, and she's like, "Oh, it's like Chicken Jockey on the Minecraft movie."
They want me to fight the chicken?
Chicken jockey!
Which I just sent you that little scene from the Jason Momoa scene where he does a chicken jockey fight in the middle of the Minecraft movie. So it's just kind of funny to see that kind of stuff popping up in pop culture to this day, like chicken fight.
Oh, I remember when I first listened to this when I bought the record when I was 18. I was like, this just sounds so fun. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, is this what a propaganda show's like? Because I'm in.
Dude, and this stuff still happens. Like I go to hardcore shows here in Buffalo, and I've got videos in Buffalo when I saw I can't remember what show it was. I think it was oh man, Intuition or something like that. God, I'll have to look this up, but I've got videos of people in Buffalo like riding on each other's backs, like plowing around the banquet room of this Italian restaurant called Casa de Francesca here in Buffalo, where they have shows in the back dining room sometimes. And it's really fun whenever they have shows there. And there's, a little bit of chicken fighting going on back there. Just at a random show in like 2024. So
Lo-
it still
Love
goes
it.
on.
Love more chicken fighting.
More chicken fighting. So I don't know, Steve. That's kind of all I've got about this tune. I've just thought it's a good time. The Samson is also openly disgusted with Jeff at one point in the recording where he's talking about throwing uh shit, taking a shit and like throwing it around in the
My
room.
hand, and it smacked against the wall and missed this girl's head by about an inch. And she didn't even know at the time. So afterwards, we all started laughing, and she didn't care anymore.
Hey, does anybody have a
we
symbol?
all want
they
to see
can
Brad
just
take a
give to
shit
me
again
for
so I can
free?
throw it somewhere.
Jeff, man.
So Samson's open disgust at Jeff's suggestion about the poop was very like, Jeff, come on, man. And so that is such a fantastic little thing. Samson's open disgust with Jeff's fecal conversations as well really made me laugh.
Not that it'll ever happen, but I would really love John's take on these two on LaPlante's song from that record. I want John Sampson, K. Sampson, to tell me about this. I want his perspective about this.
Well, if we ever have John on the podcast again, I will add it to my overview list to chat about. So, John Sampson, we're coming for you. We're gonna make you comment on Jeff LaPlante talking about feces at the Royal Albert in 1992, which I'm sure John will find extremely stimulating as a
Yeah.
conversation topic.
Yeah, I'm sure he's dying to talk about that.
Go crazy! Hey, Hannah! How's it going? Is that you I see slapping dicks with Brad? Fuck, you got a hairy ass? A hairy fucking ass? Hell yeah! No way! He has a hairy ass? Is it hairier than mine? I know we just checked, Sam. No thunder. It's hairier than yours, Hannah! Hey, Jord! How's it going? You fucking fat piece of motherfucking shit! I can track your job, kid, right now! And maybe I will! Maybe I know I won't do it!
Just to let you know, when we get back
Thanks,
from
Jeff.
LA, I start to work out every day. And the first head I'm going to crack on my new washboard is going to be yours!
How
You
many
got it!
people have been to every propaganda show that ever existed? Not many. Me. But George always said that.
Actually, I missed one.
Yeah. So Steve, is there any other life stuff we kind of just got right into it today. We didn't really do our normal catch up. Maybe we could do that a little bit now since we've kind of, run our course with this random tune.
I mean, we've got I think the big thing happening for both of us right now is we're just both biking up a storm.
Biking, baby. So I've been cycling for a long time. I got into cycling in 2001 because I got a job at a record store in St. Louis and I was in high school. And this guy that I worked with, his name's Dave, he was always like getting on his bike and riding from the store after his shift would end. And he'd be like wearing, the Lycra shorts and the jersey and, all decked out on this super expensive, nice bike. And the way you would talk about it was just so intriguing to me. And I really looked up to the guy a whole lot as a friend at the store because he knew everything about music, but then he also knew everything about cycling. And so I was just kind of a sponge soaking it all in. And one day I went down to the bike shop down the street that he had a second job at, and I randomly spent $1,500 on a Greg LeMond Buenos Aires road bike. And maybe the best purchase I've ever made in my entire life. Not even joking. It was a spontaneous $1,500 purchase in like 2002. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I just started riding that thing around, and for some reason, it just clicked with me. I was a swimmer for a long time, so I was really into like cardio workouts and stuff like that. And cycling just clicked with me, And here I am, 23 years later, still riding bikes. And it's just something that has just kind of stuck with me, and it just clicks with my brain in a way that no other exercise ever has. And when I'm riding a lot, I'm kind of incapable of being in a bad mood. And so I'm glad that you found it recently. And I'm enjoying watching your Strava cycling journey as well, because it's just something that I personally have found a lot of fulfillment in for more than 20 years.
It's become something that I just like. Because I've wanted to do this since last September. Is when I really decided, okay, I'm gonna be a bike guy. So like I've been riding. I have like a smart bike in the house, and I was like doing virtual tour of Utah. I was doing all winter. Like I rode, every day. And then when I got this road bike in April, I've gone on maybe probably a total of seven pretty hefty rides. And
Hmm.
I find the hardest part of the ride is the first 7 kilometers of a ride.
Mm, interesting.
And then
Getting
after
going.
that, I can go forever.
Yeah, you're like a diesel engine. Takes you a while to get up to speed, but once you're up to speed, you're good to go.
The first seven, I don't know if it's because I don't pace myself and I just go out of the gate too hard, too fast, and I try and push it. But the first 7 kilometers are generally the hardest of a ride. Um, and I mean, I said my ride last week when I messaged you after my ride last week when I had quite the incident on my ride. I
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I did a ride in Hamilton. I don't know if for those listening still listen, if anyone is still listening at this point. Um, so Hamilton, there's two parts of Hamilton. There's like the lower city and the mountain, and like I'm talking like mountain. Like so we have the Niagara escarpment here,
Hmm.
where the city is literally divided. Like one is 180 meters above the rest of the city, right? So and we have mountain access roads that go up the mountain, and so my ride, I rode from my house, like I'm going east, kind of towards Niagara, and part of the ride, I go up the escarpment. And I'm a quarter of the way up the escarpment, and the chain comes off my bike when I switch gears. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, you got to be kidding me. This road is so steep. There's cars everywhere. And I'm like, now I got to pull over in a ditch to put the chain back on the bike. And then I immediately discovered how hard it is to start riding a road bike that you have to clip your feet into on that steep of an incline because you
Yeah.
can't clip your feet in unless you're coasting.
Yep. Yeah, and if you're a pro racer, people would push you on the side of the road, right? Like if you had an issue like that on the side of a mountain
Yeah.
road, like you would get back on and people would push you to get you moving. But when you're alone, you're on your own.
Oh my. So like I'm pretty new into biking, like getting into this, and I encountered this situation that just drained the absolute life out of me.
Yeah.
It took me so long to get up this hill. I was huffing wind so bad. By the time I got to the top, my heart rate was at like 189. I was just huffing. I pulled over at the top. I like chugged a bunch of water, and then I got back on the bike. I started riding. And then I got maybe 150 feet down the road. I started feeling sick. I pulled over. I was in front of like a farmhouse where the house was like, like 500 yards back from the road. And I'm sitting on the ground under their mailbox and I just start barfing.
So good.
And I was just there. I was saying to myself, oh, okay, I might have to call Zoe to come pick me up. I feel so sick. And then I'm like, nope, I'm not calling. I'm getting through this. And then I just waited it out a few more minutes. I got back on the bike and then I rode another 43 kilometers.
Yeah. Your rides, man, like they're looking great. It looks like you've got some really cool stuff. You're always next to the water. You've got some really good loops that you've developed. And it's just so awesome because you start to understand the region in which you live so much more deeply when you ride it on a bike. You understand the road surface, you understand the traffic patterns, you understand the behaviors of other people who are in cars, you understand traffic infrastructure. The whole world just looks differently to me because I have so much experience being so much more connected to the road on my bike than I am in my car.
One thing that I really enjoy is that like I get to notice things that I wouldn't normally notice, whether it
Hmm.
be like, things about different like places, landscaping or different types of houses or like really cool things. Like the road I was riding on yesterday, North Shore Avenue in Burlington. It's pretty secluded from the rest of the city, and it has some like insane houses on it. I'm talking
Mm.
like insane. And like ones that they're not just like regular people houses. We're talking like designed by hotshot architect designer houses,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. And riding through this extremely affluent neighborhood on my bike, because there's not a lot of cars on the roads. The more affluent the neighborhood, the less cars there are on the roads because people just don't drive there. So it's a nice ride right along the waterfront through that very affluent neighborhood that goes but like right through a private golf course.
hmm
And it's and the road is like got a lot of like ups and downs to it, so you really get to and like winding through forest parts, so it's really really beautiful. Um but you just get to like, appreciate things that I wouldn't normally appreciate. Like I would never drive my car on that road ever.
exactly. You see so much more of where you live when you're on a bike. And every single week can be different. You learn about wind patterns as well, and you plan routes with like tailwind on the way home in mind. Or if it can't be done, sometimes you're just like, be like, well, I guess I'm going to be straight in the wind on the last 10 straight miles. um, it's really great lifestyle, and I'm so glad that after a little bit of time away from it, whenever I was like traveling and like, when my daughter was very young, that I found my way back to it because I'm so much happier being over 40 and having rediscovered cycling in general. And I'm just delighted that you are on that journey as well. It makes me really happy.
If I could just share a my recent pet peeve. I shared it with you yesterday, but
Yeah, bring it. I
I
mean,
would like
yeah.
it to be I would like to use this opportunity as a PSA because I know we have some of them that listen to the show. I know we have one that listens to the show, but I'm not saying she's one of these people because she's a wonderful person and I know she doesn't do this, but I'm calling out her people.
Okay.
I'm talking to you, rollerbladers.
What are they doing?
I have no issues with the idea of rollerblading. You can rollerblade, inline skate, whatever you want to call it, all day long. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
What bothers me is when we're on a multi use shared pathway. So you've got walkers, you've got cyclists, you've got rollerbladers, you got people on these scooters, you got all types of people. You got people pushing strollers. Everyone's using this path. And you have rollerbladers skating in the middle of the pathway
Yeah.
with headphones on in
Yeah.
their own world, not hearing anyone that could be going faster than them, which is
Yeah.
most people on
On a
any
bike.
form of transport that's not rollerblades.
Right. Yeah. Well, and they can't hear you, and you can't say on your left or passing on your left because of the headphones.
And and leisure rollerbladers slash inline skaters. God, Mandy's gonna hate me so much.
She will not. She's gonna agree with you. She rides bikes too.
um. Anyways, the way they're skating is they're weaving to all
Mm,
sides of the pathway. I'm like, this is a multi-use pathway. That implies people more than you.
yeah. Well, this is very good. I mean, you're basically at war on your bike, and I treat all of my bike rides almost like I'm at war in a way. And you are now at war with the rollerblader. So
I've
you're
just
you're gonna win this war. It's gonna be okay.
I couldn't even believe the audacity of this gentleman yesterday that was rollerblading shirtless on the multi-use pathway on the Hamilton beachfront, weaving back and forth. I wasn't the only person trying to get by him. So it's not just me that's the asshole here.
Well, I would yell at those people too. Like I've yelled at so many people in my 20 plus years of being on a bike. I've seen people on bikes punch people through their car windows for like almost like running us over and stuff like that. You're really getting a nice little new view of society and humanity in general when you are in a on a bike. So this is great. I just keep these stories coming because this is going to be very humorous for me. Question about rollerblading. Have you ever heard the David Cross sketch, Gabriel the Patriotic Rollerblader?
I have not.
Oh man, it's from his 2002 stand-up record double album on Sub Pop Records called Shut Up You Fucking Baby, and it's maybe my favorite stand-up record of all time. Uh, Everybody out there, you need to go listen to Gabriel the Patriotic Rollerblader because it is very, very funny. So I will
I
see
will
if I
listen to
can.
that today.
I'll see if I can find a clip for you. Super good. Well, Steve, should we rank LaPlante song and LaPlante Smith song?
I would love to rank this because I think I'm looking forward to hearing your ranking based on what I know mine is.
Do you have a favorite version? Do you like LaPlante song more or LaPlante Smith song more? I've
I
read the
like
lyrics.
I like LaPlante song more.
Okay. Yeah, the hairy ass over and over and over on the Plant Smith song really just kind of loses me
And
after a little
I like
bit.
the vocals better in LaPlante song too.
Yeah, yeah, me too. So LaPlante song is consensus. And dude, when Jord is like, when I get back from LA and I start working out, I'm gonna get new washboard abs, and the first skull I'm gonna crack is gonna be yours. And so Jord really has an excellent delivery on that as well. So huge shout out to Jord and his washboard, his new washboard for cracking skulls. But yes, I also like LaPlante's song more. Give me your rating.
I'm gonna rate this a 3.5.
Ooh, nice. I'm gonna go 2.5. I'm going middle of the road for Propagandy. But that the 3.5 is up there, man.
Well,
3.5 is
I feel
like
like I explained it is that I think it's important to preserve this type of thing in the history of the band, and I think it's like the recording of this, it it shows who they were and what they were doing at that time, and I think it's really important to have that. So I think we need to more bands need to have this type of thing out there and just show that, hey man, we're having fun, we're kids, we're loving life, let's just have fun. I love it.
and if you think about the fact that like this is how they got their sound guy who works with them to this day, like this is like significant stuff. So if you can trace the origin of the band back to LaPlante's song and then think about how it weaves through the band's history to this day, pretty crazy stuff here. Pretty crazy.
Maybe we didn't mention that that they have a tour announced in
Oh,
Canada.
yeah. I'm going to both of the Toronto shows, Toronto or Toronto, Toronto, Toronto.
I think maybe we can convince them to bring it back.
LaPlante song? Dude,
Yeah,
wouldn't it be awesome? Let me hear me out. What if I sang LaPlante song on stage with Propaganda at the Toronto Concert Hall?
let's put that out there into the universe.
I am offering, I will go sing a LaPlante song on stage with Propaganda at the Toronto Concert Hall, but only if I'm invited. I'm volunteering, but the invite has to be authentic and intentional.
So
So
the petition that I'm about to start isn't sufficient.
get Greg on stage to sing LaPlante song in Toronto. Toronto. Am I saying it right? Toronto. Toronto.
There's no T in it.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Toronto. Toronto. It's like
Torono. Toronto.
wouldn't it be Trono? Toronto.
Toronto.
Why do you need the
To-
toe? You don't need the toe. It's Toronto.
Toronto. Toronto.
Toronto. Toronto. So it's
It,
TUHRANNUH.
Toronto. I mean, it's the way people who are not from Toronto say Toronto is the same way that when how Americans say the city that I'm from.
Montreal.
Yep.
Montreal.
Yep.
I can't even do it, man. Montreal. I can't even do it. I'm way too Missouri.
The way that everyone says it's Montreal. Montreal.
Montreal. Montreal. Okay, I like that. I like that. Montreal, not
Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this Montreal? No one says it like that.
Montreal. Okay, this is good. Okay, well, Steve, thank you so much for recording an episode with me on LaPlante song / LaPlante Smith song. It's been a pleasure. Tracks 15 through 17 on Where Quantity is Job Number 1 from 1998 on G7 Welcoming Committee Records featuring Jeff LaPlante, Sam Poindexter Smith, John K. Sampson, Chris Hanna, George Samoleski. We got a stone cold classic on our hands for this episode. Thank you so much for everybody out there for listening. You can find us on email at propagandipod@gmail.com. Steve, what a pleasure. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Hey, Jordan! Join the chicken fight! Is that a sub you got in your face? You piece of shit, fat motherfucker! Oh! Satan!
Thank you, Henry. Or Jeff.